Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I just had changed a few things. Hi guys, how are you? Today is an exciting mission. This is going to be China's first time trying to return a sample of the moon back to Earth. That's absolutely awesome. So, of course, as you guys know, we are here for Team Space. My job is to report on spaceflight and space exploration. That's exactly what today is. So let's please focus on that. I'm fully aware of how chat is. I did pin a comment already, so please just abide by that and come together as a community to witness history together, okay? So, obviously, you know, it's not my job to be a political or geopolitical analyst and human rights activist, so let's just keep that in mind and keep the topic on spaceflight. Please, please, please. That is my one request today, guys, because we can come together on this, because this is space exploration, my friends. So that being said, anytime you have any questions about rocket launches, upcoming rockets, where it's going, what it's doing, how it's going to blah, 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 head on over to everydayastronaut.com/prelaunch preview or click on the pre-launch preview and you'll get one of these. No, not that. Hang on. Spoiler alert. You'll get this. So today's mission is the Long March 5. This is the biggest, you're right, I don't have my background lights on. Whoopsies. We better hold the count here. This is inexcusable. Oh man, hold on. Jeez. Oh man. Wow. Sitting here blinded by this light, not even paying attention to the rest of the world. Okay, anyway, today's mission is this is Chang'e 5. Chang'e, I'm probably saying it wrong. I'm sorry. I'm going to be terrible at pronouncing, obviously, as you guys know. This is Chang'e 5, and this is a really exciting mission today, guys. So let's go through all this. So it's going to be taking off, we think, wait, do we think it's taking off in 12 minutes? Oh, no, 25... in 10 minutes? Do I need to change the clock? Did something change? We do need to say, by the way, that we don't have much information on these launches, really, as far as timing. We don't really know considerations about scrubs and stuff like that. This is the window, but it is hit F5. I did hit F5. I refreshed this. Oh, there we go, my friends. Sorry, I had refreshed. I promised I had refreshed the pre-launch preview, but I do apologize. Okay, so good. I think our clock is still correct. And 12 seconds. I'm going to add that 12 seconds to make sure that that we get that correct, because that should help our countdown clock. Boom, there we go. The mission name, Chang'e 5, which is a lunar sample return mission. The launch provider for this is the China Academy of Launch Technology. That's the company, although it's kind of, you know, half like state-owned-ish, but half private company sort of ish. I don't quite get the relationship. The customer for this is the China National Space Administration, or CNSA. The rocket today is the Long March 5, the CZ5, not the Long March 5B. This is just the Long March 5. Now, wait, which one's the one that has the upper stage? Is it the Long March 5B or the... I feel like the 5B does not have the upper stage. Long March 5 does. Yeah, this is a normal Everyday Astronaut live stream. You know it's me. By the way, guys, I have to say, this is like at the absolute limit of my comfort zone. Like, I'm out of it already. When we're talking about, you know, things, I just got comfortable with Russian and former Soviet launch vehicles in the 6-month process of learning the history of the engines. I'm very... admittedly woefully unfamiliar with the Chinese launch program. Okay, the 5 equals an upper stage. The 5B is the one that has no upper stage. Thank you, Flo in Discord. You are saving my butt on air. Where is the spacecraft going? This is going to the moon and back. That's a very exciting destination. Will they be attempting to recover the first stage? No, they are attempting to recover the lunar samples, though, for the 4th payload module. The landing will occur in the Siziwang Banner area of Inner Mongolia. And the first stage will land in the sea. Notice that this is from the sea because these are taking off. Oh, I think we forgot to mention this. It is taking off from the Wenchang Space Center and the Henan Islands. So that means that it flies over the ocean. It does not fly over populated areas. Keep that in mind, chat. And the payload mass is 8,200 kilograms. So yeah, these fairings are new, and they do not attempt to recover fairings on any of these vehicles. How's the weather looking? It seems to be on course. Again, we don't necessarily know that much about it. This will be the 6th flight of the Long March 5 ever, the 353rd launch of any Long March vehicle, the 35th orbital launch of China in 2020. That's impressive. And the 7th launch from the Wenchang Space Center. So if you guys want to learn more about this mission, and here's kind of what the payload looks like. There's that whole kick stage and everything, the lunar lander, the drill for the core sampler, and then it takes off. There's a whole separate ascent stage that flies back. We'll dock with the orbiter again, which is super cool. So it'll basically do it's almost a miniature. You know what? Frankly, this is a miniature Apollo mission because it has its own orbiter. You can think of that as the Apollo command and service module that stays in lunar orbit. It then lets go of the lander, so there's a descent stage. Then there's an ascent stage that will dock back up with the orbiter, which will then send the payload back to Earth for re-entry. It literally is like a miniature Apollo program, Apollo mission. So very, very cool. Very exciting. So hopefully this all goes well. So, yeah, if you guys want to learn more about this is our pre-launch preview here. This one was written up by Andy Law, so everyone say thank you to Andy for the awesome work and the rest of the website crew for helping make this possible. I actually have feeds already pulled up here. There is actually some from let's see, skip ahead to get, it won't let me go live here. But there is an official live stream. We'll probably use that once we get closer. But for now, here's what I'm actually going to pull up. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to pull up this because I want to show you guys something, what I think is really exciting. We have, oh no, don't tell me they left. Don't tell me we lost those cameras. Oh no. No, did we lose those cameras? We had my favorite camera I've ever seen of any launch, and it's gone now. I'm going to transition to it just in case it needs to refresh like that. Okay, hold on. We might actually have it. Get ready for this one, guys. Okay, here we go. If we can see this camera at launch, I don't care about any other shot. If we can see the flame trench and this camera probably get obliterated during launch, this is the one I'm going to stay tuned into, my friends. This is the one. Because, come on. When else do we get this option for a camera? I mean, yeah, there's some stuff going on in the background. There's going to be other fun things. But this? The flame trench of a rocket? Yes, please. Yeah, this, my friends, by definition, is the flamey end. So we can tell you right now, we can do our pointy end up, flamey end down check right now. So let's actually pull up this camera real quick. The other one, which might not be working either. Let's see. Okay, there we go. It's kind of this image has been wonky. It is a live feed, although it's stuttering. But that also gives us another view that this is the pointy end up, the flamey end is down. You can see it there, and then combined with our awesome pad camera, or our awesome trench cam, the flamey end cam, we definitely can confirm that the pointy end is up and flamey end is down. I should real quick do a little mini rundown on this vehicle. The Long March 5 has 4 strap-on liquid-fueled boosters. They run on RP1. The center core runs on open cycle hydrolox engines. So they're kind of like the RS-68 that runs on the Delta 4 and Delta 4 Heavy have, where they're open cycle but hydrolox. So they're impressive in that remark, and I believe they run for like 8 minutes. Oh, are we missing slow mode in chat? If so, let me fix that up real quick. No, we've got slow mode. And then the upper stage is also hydrolox, and that is an expander cycle engine. So they're all pretty those stages are pretty efficient. The hydrolox stages, I think one of them gets around 430 seconds of specific impulse, and the upper stage gets something like 444, if I recall. So yeah. All right. So let's see here. So let's get through some of your questions and comments. This is from Michael Floor. Woohoo, launch day, or should I say launch morning, is 4 a.m. in Perth. You are hardcore watching at 4 a.m. That's more. I don't even know if I have that in me these days, unless it's something massive. That's crazy. Thank you. Mr. Toxic Hot Dog. Hi, Tim. Hope everything is going fine. Not really a space topic, but what's my opinion on Google's quantum computer? In general, I think all quantum computers are going to be one of those moments, like changing moments in human history once kind of into like the quantum era. Once we understand and can mass manufacture and scale and utilize quantum computing, I think, although most of it will probably just remain in the cloud, I don't think there's much of a need for personal quantum computers. But I think that's one of those technologies that we don't even quite understand what all it will do for us until it just starts doing stuff that we didn't think was feasible, because of the way that it processes things, because of the way it can do probabilistic. That's such a hard word to say. Computing and things that are just really hard for a traditional computer to do. I think in the long run, like it's going to be game changing. I don't know specifically about Google's. Google's is amazing, but I know there's several kind of competing to have the most cores and the most all that stuff. So it sounds like the 30-minute prep is complete. Okay, so we probably might need to move our clock back. 19 minutes to launch. Okay, so we might need to move ours a little bit. We'll probably tune in. We'll have some pad audio up in a little bit once we get closer to T-minus 3 minutes or so we can listen in. There is an English broadcast version of this. So, yeah. Okay, so I do want to say before we continue on with any super chat that deals with anything besides like that last question. That was a perfectly fine topic, but let's please, again, keep it to spaceflight. I will not be reading on air anything that deals with, again, geopolitical, and unfortunately, I know the importance of human rights. Trust me, that's an important topic. This is not the Everyday Astronaut geopolitical human rights.com page. This is the Everyday Astronaut page. We are here to watch spaceflight history. We're here to talk about spaceflight. We're here to talk about engineering, science, and exploration. So please, again, just a friendly reminder. So if I see those comments, unfortunately, I just will not. This is from Mr. Z4K. New merch idea, just in big text, the word whoopsies. I mean, that's like every other word that comes out of my mouth. It's just... Oh, we got 17:22 on the clock. So let me see if I can synchronize our clocks to that. Let me remove this. See where we're at. 17:10. And I don't know what the sync is going to be like between these. Oh, man. So we need about another minute. Okay, this should be fairly close. The clock... It might be off a little bit, but that's giving us some kind of rough estimate at least. Okay, so as far as... as far as merch, one of the things I'm trying to do is there's so many punny merch ideas, kind of pun-based, funny spaceflight merch out there, and I feel like a lot of people do that, frankly, a lot better than I do. I'm trying to kind of make it so the merch reflects missions and hardware and helps make that stuff cool. To me, there's nothing more cool than a mission parameter or a piece of hardware that someone already designed and already engineered and put that time and effort into. I want to help make that cool, right? That's kind of half of the idea of what the merchandise that we work on is about, is trying to help kind of sexify, almost, not just straight, but like sexyify, there we go. Help sexyify up engineering, science, and yeah. To me, that's kind of my goal behind it, is to help actually like elevate it, to help it be cool. So people are excited that, hey, I do engineering. I'm an engineer. I'm a scientist. I'm a chemist. And that's cool. That's sexy. That's part of the goal. I feel like the punny stuff is great, but it sometimes can isolate even. It can actually make it so the spaceflight community is more of an inside joke maybe, and almost alienate people. 15, 20. Okay, so I am now 10 seconds behind. So let me remove this real quick, and this should be about right. Okay, my clock's pretty close to accurate now, at least with this. But I don't know the sync here. So once we get closer, we will listen in. So that's kind of part of the goal, is that is to elevate and help spread out that coolness factor instead of try to narrow it in more and make everything an inside joke that's only accessible to a few people. I know Nominal's kind of one of those. Nominal's about as far as I want to take it. Oh, speaking of, by the way, although I'm wearing the shirt and although you would get 10% off the Future Martian shirt today, may I suggest, pro tip, don't buy anything today. don't buy anything this week until we get our new site up, which we're hoping to launch on Thursday with Black Friday sales, Black Friday weekend sales, and Cyber Monday sales. Just saving you some heads up and some money, and getting you excited for the upcoming merch flip, because the new website store is absolutely crazy. It's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be a big flip, and there's a lot of new exciting stuff that I can't wait for you guys to see. Finally, new drinkware and a new shirt that's top secret that I can't wait for you guys to see. And yeah. Okay, so let's keep going here. Who all has spacecraft on the moon? Pumped. Well, there's bits of spacecraft from India and Israel, but otherwise it is only the United States, Russia, and China. Has ESA landed a spacecraft on the moon? That's really sad that I can't think of that right now. Can anyone help me? Yeah, I don't think there is. I don't think there's any. Yeah, ESA has helped, including, actually, ESA is helping with this mission. ESA is doing some of the telemetry. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the only probes on the moon are the U.S. intact, I should say, intact are the U.S., Russia, and China. And this will be the first sample return mission since, what is it, 1976? Ooh, we're getting some umbilical releases. That was a cool camera. Man, what am I hearing in this? Okay, we're gonna cut that out. I'm actually gonna unmute this, and I'm gonna have this kind of pulled up here. I'll just kind of have this in the background, and I'll be listening in here and making sure we're not about to miss anything. But it does look like, according to this, it looks like we're actually kind of getting close to. They're kind of showing the umbilicals and stuff like that. So hopefully everything's going well. Hopefully we are T-minus 12 minutes. So, okay, let's keep going here. Yeah, that's who's all been on the moon. This will be the first sample return. This will be the newest moon rock we've had in, what, 45 years, basically. Pretty awesome. So that'll be very good. Okay, Musical Wolves. Backlights. Failure is not an option here. If you are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a major innovation here for me to turn on the lights. We're really breaking ground here. Okay, let's see. This is from Mike. Aloha. Love all your lives. Very nice time to be alive and follow this new era of this space, time, and new technology. Keep it going. Love your clothes too. Well, thank you, Mike. That really means a lot. Yeah, this is what I'm excited about. I'm excited that we have new countries doing bigger and better things in space, and we're all kind of doing, it's almost like a new space race again. It's a little bit different this time. It's definitely not as hostile. It's closer to a collaboration, although it's currently not really always a collaborative effort. But I'm excited for this, because this to me feels like how we can make progress again towards getting humans on the moon and eventually getting humans out to Mars. You know, it starts right here. So yeah, I'm excited. This is from VA Philly fan. This is for the mods. Yes, thank you, mods. You are saints today. Yeah, absolutely. We got a new member from Tom. Thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate that. This is from Stefan. Says, I'm not a Discordian or patron at the moment. I'm having issues with both, but still love all your work and happy to support. Love from Oz. No problem, Stefan. That's all just, icing on the cake. If that's something you guys want to do and want to, help support what I do in that way, that's fantastic. If not, there's a reason that all my videos are free online and I don't put them up on like Curiosity Stream or somewhere that's a paid service. It's important to me that we spread the knowledge and help get people excited, help educate people, give them something to be hopeful about, because that's half of what this is all about to me, is just simply getting people excited about spaceflight and learning that, realizing that no matter where you're at and what you're doing and what level of past knowledge you have, you can learn about this stuff, and it can be exciting and it can be worthwhile to learn it and be hopeful, give you something, exciting to learn about. So, yeah, that's important to me. That's extremely important to me, because I think that's something that really, really, brings in, that we need right now, especially. So, okay, so this is from Carl. Sorry, I probably should have mentioned what is specific impulse? And sorry, I know it might be kind of hard to read the chats on screen right now with all the other things. Okay, so specific impulse is basically like your fuel economy or gas mileage or kilometer per liter or whatever of a vehicle. It's technically how much force can it apply based on like a given amount of fuel. So say you have the same amount of fuel and two different rocket engines. If one's more efficient but can push the same amount of force as the other one, it will have a higher specific impulse. So it's literally measured in seconds. Let's just make up some numbers. Let's just say we're producing 9.8 newtons of force and we have 1 kilogram of fuel. How long can you produce 9.8 newtons of force with 1 kilogram of fuel? Say you can do that for 200 seconds, you'd have a 200 seconds of specific impulse. Say you can do that for 300 seconds, you would have 300 seconds of a specific impulse. So depending on how efficient your engines are and the fuel you're using, that kind of matters. That's what your specific impulse is. So you can literally do more work with the same amount of propellant, which obviously that's the whole thing of the rocket equation. The more fuel efficient you are, really, the further and more you can do with your a relative size rocket. So I think that's pretty exciting. I did see something in chat I just want to talk about because it was asking how many engines. There's 4 strap-on boosters on this rocket. Each one has its own engine, if I recall. Sorry, again, this is a little bit out of my normal. Each booster has 2 of the YF-100s. The core stage, the first stage, has 2 of the YF-77s. Those are Hydrolox. So the outer core boosters have 2 engines each, and those run on RP1 or Kerolox. So basically kerosene and liquid oxygen. The center core is liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen, or Hydrolox. And there's 2 of the YF-77s. The second stage has 2 YF-75Ds, and again, those run on Hydrolox as well. So there's actually a second stage on top of that core stage. So does this rocket remind? I feel like it gives me a little bit of here. I'll give you a different shot of it. It gives me a little bit of Energia vibes, Energia, however you say it, Energia. I don't know why. Especially the way that the boosters taper in. No, do the booster noses taper in? I can't really tell in the shot. I'm pretty sure they do though, which to me feels they do taper in. I like that. I actually like that design style. I'm sad that it's not as common. I feel like Russia is really big into having the booster nose cones taper in towards the center core. But I gotta see this flame cam. The flame cam's all that matters. This is life right now, guys. This is life. Yeah, I love that style. That's very Kerbal to me. Okay, this is from Brian Clausen. Hi, Brian. Thanks for always being in here. Yay, space. Let's enjoy the world-advancing spaceflight for human exploration. Oh, and glad we heard you certify the rocket as flamey end down and pointy end up. Yes, this is an easy one. Actually, we have a great shot. Oh, I just missed it. We did have a great shot of it pointy end up, flamey end down there. But it is absolutely confirmed. Absolutely. Let's see. So this is from L Legion. As a Chinese, I am wondering where can I get the trench cam stream? Right here. I got you. It is actually an internal VLC feed basically that we found. We need to give a huge shout out to David for helping us find in Discord, help us find those feeds. It's awesome. And also thrilling to see Chinese characters on screen. Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. Congratulations. This is an exciting mission. I hope that this type of stuff puts flames under everyone else's butts or their feet on the coals or whatever you say to help other countries want to continue to push exploration. And even if it's a one-upping each other, a little bit of a genitalia measuring contest, I'm fine with that as long as that means we get more space exploration. So, okay, so let's keep going here. This is from Philip for the Team Space Fund. Thank you so much, Philip. So speaking of, I know you guys have been asking for a hashtag Team Space shirt for a long time. Let me clue you in on a little secret. This new website will have some form of hashtag Team Space shirt. and it might be a new series, and you'll see what I mean. It's the true embodiment of hashtag Team Space. This is from Neam and I'm so sorry. I'm not even close to being able to pronounce that. Neam and Scarl. Yeah, so hey Tim, good to see you. Any clue when Peter Beck will eat his hat? For those of you unfamiliar, the CEO of Rocket Lab, forever ago when they decided to, last year, I guess, not forever ago, last year, they revealed that they're planning to try to recover their Electron rocket, the first stage of their Electron rocket. And he said, I admit I have to eat my hat for this because I never thought we would pursue reusability here at Rocket Lab. I am going to have to eat my hat. It's kind of a saying, eat your hat. And so, we actually had a press conference before this earlier this morning. I was listening to the Rocket Lab press conference where we learned a lot of details about the recovery. I have a super long tweet thread. If you guys want to read that on Twitter, you can find me Everyday Astronaut or at Day Astronaut because Everyday Astronaut's too long. Don't ask. Sensitive subject. But I have this really long tweet thread kind of going through all the bullet points of what Peter and the Rocket Lab team were talking about on that press conference call. Really exciting stuff. I did even ask him at the very end, will you actually eat a hat? And he said, I want to eat a hat, is what he said. He's like, but I've had a lot of people trying to encourage me not to do that for health reasons. I suppose that's kind of fair. Ooh, I've got a really cool camera up here on this feed. Let me show you this real quick. We got umbilicals like crazy. Umbilicals galore here. Very cool. Yeah, I like this. These are some cool cameras to see. I love it. Keep this up, please. Also, I love the announcer from China is like proclaiming everything with extreme excitement and loudness. Ooh, look at that. The umbilicals just pulled.
This mission, people say that the docking and the
wow, they do that early. But anyway, so he actually did say he wants to eat a real hat. He would blend it up and put it in a smoothie, basically. But he's being talked out of it, basically. And we'll see. We'll see if that's actually what he does. I'm gonna keep this coverage up. But as soon as I see anything happen, I can switch to the flame trench cam in a second so you guys can see that. But I think this camera is telling us more about the mission than the flame trench camera. Maybe I can do a little side by side. Let me see if I can pull that up here real quick. Give me just a second of extreme concentration. Hold on. Let's see. I want this copy. And I want this paste. Paste. Is this the right one? I just messed this all up. Hang on. I'm going to try and get these side by side so we don't accidentally miss one. Oh, it's this one. Crap. Copy. Sorry, guys. Riveting feed here, Tim. I'm actually gonna give you guys some audio from the pad here, from the commentary. Give me 1 second while I focus on this.
Professor Yang, that's the platform, that's the pad opening up to release the rocket, is it?
Yes, we can see that all the rotational platforms has already been opened, and only a few connections are still remain. So we can see it's going to launch,
indicating that the final preparation, the very final touches are now being done to the rocket.
You can see there's still a wire connected to the vehicle. That is a wire to have the headers.
1 minute countdown till launch.
1 minute. Okay.
If you're just joining us here on CGTN, you're looking at live pictures coming out of Wenchang and Hainan.
This is not going to be the prettiest thing.
Where the
I'm actually going to have to hide
rocket
one of these things.
is getting ready to lift off. This is the Chang'e 5 mission that will endeavor to bring back soil and rock samples from the moon. Okay. 30 seconds till launch.
Here we go. We have all the cameras now, my friends. Let's listen in.
20 seconds now.
Okay.
As you can see, the countdown on the screen. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition.
Trench cam. It's launching.
Liftoff.
时间动4时3度分2幺秒发动6毫秒。
Yes. Trench cam.
程序转弯，
We'll miss you.
0 point.
阵地1212跟踪正常。
Better get this for you guys.
Personnel on the ground reporting that the remote sensing data indicate that the flight is going smoothly. Why do we need those data?
This is to keep the tracking of the predetermined orbits and the speed and altitude. So to keep track on the normality of this rocket.
And we should also notice that the rocket is not flying straight up. It's going sideways. There's a
Pitch
little
over.
turn.
It's called pitch over.
Pitch over.
Yes. So the first critical step will be after the tower is cleared will be the pitch over to the so we call the launch direction. With this direction, we can determine the orbital plane. And from you see, this is a video from the camera mounted on the rocket itself on the
This is
core
a good
stage.
view.
We can see 2 of the 4 boosters. While the 4 boosters provided 90% of the thrust during the liftoff. So on this stage, mainly the thrust is from the 4 boosters. And after pitch over, the next critical step will be the separation of these
The
4
boosters. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
And we keep hearing that the monitoring and command center reporting how the flight is going to continue. They're going to continue to track.
Does anyone else almost think the English guy talking right now almost sounds like Chris G from NASA Spaceflight?
Flight, we'll see the boosters come off the rocket, and you're looking at the pictures being captured by a camera just attached to the body of that rocket, showing, as Professor Yang mentioned, 2 of the boosters there. There are a total of 4 boosters on the body of the rocket. They will all come off later in the
that's a
flight
cool shot.
and allow the separation of the first and second stage rockets.
So each of the booster has 2 engines. So total of 8 engines on the booster, and also engines on the core stage. So the boosters are composed by liquid kerosene, liquid oxygen rocket engine, but the core is cryogenic, which is liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen.
Help us understand the choice of fuel here.
Well, the liquid kerosene, liquid oxygen works very well in the atmosphere, where the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen works better in outer space, which has better propellant propulsion rates.
助推器关机，助推器分离。
Okay.
Wow.
The boosters
And the
have been
boosters
separated very
are
properly.
being separated. They come off to,
Dang.
because they burn out the fuel. They have to come up to allow the
That's a cool
rocket
shot.
to continue flying.
So now we see the core engine is burning, which is the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen.
So at this stage of the flight, what the rocket is doing is that it's accelerating in terms of speed, and until it reaches that height, it will continue to increase velocity.
击杀424
Yes,
跟踪正
it
常。
was increasing the velocity and altitude at the same time.
From this 3D animation, we can see the data link from the vehicle to different ground stations. We have ground stations at the launch center, and also have the stations in the Shisha Islands, and also at the every critical point, for instance, before the spacecraft separation from the rocket, we also have the ground have space tracking ships in the
Yeah, it's
Pacific.
cool. They actually are showing us the links to the different ground tracking stations. Currently, it appears that it actually is being tracked by 4 different ground tracking satellite dishes, and that's pretty cool. I haven't really seen that strong of a good visual representation of that. Don't forget, the animation that you see on the left is based on live telemetry normally for launch providers and launch agencies. They normally literally have a simulation that ingests all of the live data and does a visual representation of it. So sometimes that'll even show, like when there's an anomaly, like when the Boeing Starliner vehicle was first let go of by the United Launch Alliance Atlas V for OFT-1 last December. As soon as it got let go, it basically started turning and doing all this stuff. And because it was live visualizations of the real telemetry, it showed the anomaly happening in real time. So that is how that usually works. Some companies, though, occasionally will just do a pre-programmed, a live just or like a pre-made video. And so even there's fairing deployment. That's good. Now the spacecraft is exposed to space. That's an important thing to have jettison. If that does not jettison, it will fail, of course. It's hard to land on the moon when you're still stuck inside of a fairing. So that's a very good sign there. So that is actually the Chang'e 5 vehicle right there that we're seeing. Very cool. And people, I get this question a lot. Like in this instance, why don't we see stars? You know, right now, why? This is space, so why aren't there stars in that image? The answer is actually quite simple. Obviously, as you can tell, there's literally lights on to illuminate this stuff so that it shows up on camera, so they can use it for engine. If there's to be a problem or anything, they want to have cameras on all of the parts and components. There's cameras on these vehicles like crazy. In case there would be an anomaly, it can be a good visual reference of what is going on. And they need to illuminate that. And when you illuminate something like that at night, you change your exposure. You change your exposure more to daytime. So you can still get your full 24 or 30 frames per second of your camera. That means you have to have at least 1/24th to 1/30th of a second of a shutter speed, which is not typically long enough to properly expose stars. The big difference is that if you're illuminating something for more of a daylight exposure, it's now going to be too dim to see stars. Just like here at Earth, you know, even if it's nighttime, and if you're to take a picture up at the sky, you know, if you're, say, in the city, might be able to see stars, but if you're taking a picture of someone where they're illuminated, you know, the camera will not expose to the stars. If you do expose to stars while something is illuminated, the thing that's illuminated will be massively overexposed. And that's not going to give you the same proper exposure of the things that you're trying to study. You're not trying to see stars in the image. You're trying to see your spacecraft. You're trying to see the things that might not go well, right? So it's just simply a matter of exposure. There's only a certain amount of dynamic range that camera sensors have. That doesn't change because you get in space. It's not the atmosphere that blocks stars from us. It's the exposure difference between normally our sun or whatever we're exposed to, just like our eyeballs. Right now, there's stars above us right now, wherever you are. I don't care if it's day or night. They're still there. But on Earth, it is a lot harder to see because the atmosphere does actually propagate in that way. But say you're on the moon, it doesn't really matter. If you're on the moon, your eyes are going to adjust to the bright, you know, your pupils are going to get very narrow because you're standing on the surface of the moon. It's daylight. It's really, really bright. And you're not going to see stars, even though they're right there, just like normal. You could overexpose your image and get pictures of the stars, but then everything else will just be absolute screaming white, you know, because it's overexposing in a daylight condition. So, yeah, hopefully that helps explain it. So let's keep watching here. This upper, or the core stage actually pretty much goes all the way till orbit. If I remember right, it runs for a full 8 minutes. So, yeah, so we're going to see this thing be burning for a long time. Oh, there's stage separation.
In the second stage.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're at 8 minutes.
Rockets are being separated. We're hearing applause from the control and command center. Everything seems to be working just fine.
Yeah, baby.
So the second stage, we use the YF-75D rocket engines, which also use the liquid hydrogen and the liquid oxygen as a propellant. The thrust is smaller, but the specific impulse is even higher than the first stage.
And later in the flight, that engine on the second stage rocket.
It's interesting that the nozzles are glowing a decent amount. There's that, even though it's a Hydrolox engine, you're seeing some kind of flame. It is an expander cycle engine, so that means that it actually uses the heat from the combustion chamber, from the nozzle, the thermal expansion of your cryogenic propellants to spin the pumps. So one that changes from liquid to a gas, that expansion is obviously high pressure. You use that pressure to spin your turbine, which then spins your pump. So you do actually have a limitation based on thermodynamics of how much thrust an engine like this, an expander cycle engine, can produce. Here we go. They're flying into daylight now since they're flying east. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so an expander cycle engine kind of has this limitation of how much thrust it can produce. It's kind of more of a theoretical. Well, it's a limit, but it's a theoretical limit. It can be exploited by doing stuff like dual expander cycles and things like that. So, yeah, here we can see the expander cycle engines, but I just can't help but notice there's little bits of flame. It almost makes you wonder if the nozzle's ablative or something, or if that's just plume to plume interaction. But normally when you see a flame like that, it's something's still being ignited. And oftentimes when you see an orange flame, it's some carbon being ignited. That's why you see that bright orange exhaust on a kerosene engine, is because you're still seeing the carbon from the kerosene burning, and normally it's interacting still with the oxygen. You'll notice it's really bright orange. A hydrolox or a Kerolox engine is very bright orange in the lower atmosphere because the unburnt carbon is actually still really hot, and when it comes in contact with the atmosphere, it's afterburning. It's continuing to burn in the atmosphere, and that's why it's glowing orange. So typically with an RP1 stage, with a Kerolox stage, by the time it gets up into the vacuum of space, you'll notice it's just kind of emitting black soot, and it's no longer bright. It's no longer just this bright orange or bright glowing orange that you normally might see in the atmosphere. But a Hydrolox engine literally burns clear. It's literally only product is water vapor. It's hydrogen and oxygen. You combine those two, you get water vapor, and that's what's actually coming out of these engines. So seeing a little bit of orange, it is ablative, made of carbon. Boom! Thank you, thank you, Discord. I guess I just explained a bunch of stuff that was unnecessary. Yeah, so it has an ablative nozzle, which is why we do see some of the orange. Real quick, going back to this, we do still have flame trench camera. It's physically live. Whether it's conditioned, who knows? But that was still a pretty exciting camera to have available. So that's awesome. So this is going well, it looks like. I should mention this mission is not very long. Let me remind me. Isn't it like less than a month? They're going to have the samples back in less than a month. What is the total mission length time? I saw this somewhere. Yeah, pre-launch preview. I don't want to pull up the pre-launch preview right now in the middle of this. For some reason, 23 days. Thank you. Because, yeah, my pre-launch preview is over on the screen. So that's not bad. Basically 3 weeks to do a sample return mission. This is going to be a quick little mission. If I remember right, this spacecraft will spend about a full lunar day on the moon. So basically 14 days on the surface of the moon, and then it'll take back off. Okay.
A low Earth orbit with altitude of about near 200 kilometers. We will fly to, as I mentioned, to a place near the equator and then ignite again.
Help us understand a little bit more about this process. When the engine has shut down and the rocket is coasting, what's happening now in this process?
So first, we need to know that because we choose this kind of procedure because of the location of our launch site. Because we don't have a launch site at the equator or near the equator, so we need this coasting phase to adjust its orbit. So the orbit is determined by the points where the engine is shutting down. So we need to have an orbit with the apogee near the equator. So we only have this choice to have a coasting phase and then ignite again, and finally it can enter in orbit with the apogee near the equator. So that's the necessity of this kind of to enter the Earth-Moon transfer orbit.
Mr. Xu,
So
at
basically
what
he's talking about
point do we
by
know
launching
we can...
from that particular site, what they do is they launch a little bit south, and they make it so that their apogee, their highest point of the orbit, is at the equator. And then what they'll do is they'll do the injection burn basically near the equator, and that
adjusting the spacecraft to the equator, the Earth equator, so it can.
I'm seeing some questions on how long it'll take to get to the moon. A normal transfer is about 3 days, basically almost exactly 3 days. Artemis missions will take 4 to 5 days because they actually do a very exact orbit matching. They don't do any kind of free return or anything. It's about 6 days. Thank you, Andy. So this one will be about 6 days. So that almost means there's 20 days for that. We'll get home quicker than 6 then?
We also call this second burn of the engines a parity kick. A parity kill can be achieved by the second burn of the
Thank you for
end
the new
stage,
membership. Let me
and
move the
can
memberships here
also
real quick.
been done by a separate rocket engine. Usually, for instance, during the years before, when the space shuttle launched a deep space probe, usually it uses this kind of parity kick engine. It will be a very small, solid launch rocket
Martin
motor.
and Raphael.
Well, because we know that for the Long March 5 series and
of course, we've got the good old From Anoush sent Tim to Mars fund. You guys, I don't want to go to Mars. Josh sending love to the mod team. Again, yes, thank you, mods, so much. You guys are amazing. Thank you for staying on top of everything. Really appreciate it. Do Wet Work 4192. Have you seen the Long March 8? It'll be their first landed booster, and it does it a bit differently. I have not seen anything on the Long March 8. Huh. Yeah. I have not actually seen much on the Long March 8. I saw some, years ago I saw something, but I haven't seen anything about it landing. Danny 1000 wants to know if I will go to orbit if I get enough patrons. I didn't say I'd go to orbit. I jokingly said if I got to 10,000 patrons that I would get a ride to space, and I assumed that would be like, first off, impossible. I thought 1,000,000% impossible. That's why I made it 10,000. I was like, there's no way there'll ever be 10,000 patrons. And then, of course, but I assumed it'd be like, I would maybe ride with like Virgin Galactic or Blue Origin or something. And man, I don't know. New Shepard would be fun. I would do suborbital. I think I'd ride New Shepard in a heartbeat. And Virgin Galactic's the interior of Virgin Galactic Spaceplane 2 is honestly amazing. That makes me kind of want to ride in it too. But okay, this is from Chris Brown. I actually have a friend. Oddly, I have a friend named Chris Brown. He produced and recorded a ton of music with me back in the day, and he. Oddly, he married a girl named Rihanna. You can't make this up. And he met her way before like the whole Chris Brown Rihanna thing. So yes, I have a friend named Chris Brown married to Rihanna. Just fun fact. Anyway, Chris Brown says, yeah, let's keep this to play Space Flame Trench View Fair. Just the coolest of live feed images. Honestly, China just threw a gauntlet down on the coolest camera I've ever seen during a launch. Elon, NASA, Rocket Lab, somebody, you now have a new goal of getting your own trench cam going, because that was awesome. A new member from Steven, thank you so much. Fishtail Productions, Team Space, have a nice dinner in Texas on me. Have you considered putting Promontory, Utah as part of your speaking tour? I'd probably have to stick to larger metropolitan areas. When I do a speaking tour, when it's safe to travel and gather in large groups, I'll literally probably just look like at a projection map of where my audience is based, and just base it on that. So it'll probably be larger cities. Maybe I'll find some smaller cities, but unfortunately, just to reach the most people, I think it makes most sense to kind of focus on especially around space centers and stuff. Kennedy Space Center, Houston. We could do something in DC and New York and LA, of course, even though there's not necessarily a NASA center besides, I guess, JPL there, but. Yeah. Biggest meetup 2.0. Yeah, Vienna again. Yeah, Vienna would probably be on that list for biggest cities in Europe that are at least like centered. The cool thing about Europe is most of the, people live within a major metropolitan area within like 2 or 3 hours, by train normally, or by car or whatever. And that's not the case in the United States. You can live 5, 6, 7, 8 hours away from metropolitan areas. So it's a lot easier for Europeans to. That being said, Europeans, you don't have an excuse. If I say like, hey, I'm doing a speaking tour in Vienna, and someone's like, I live an hour and a half away. Like, I have to drive like 5 hours to get to a metropolis area here in the United States. And I'm lucky, So yeah. Scott Kent, thank you for the membership. This is from Camera Film Production Studios. Hey, Tim, thanks for doing what you do. I want to know, what is your favorite moment in spaceflight history? Ooh, baby. Now, that's a question. So, for me personally, actually, this is... I actually am a really, really, really big fan of the Apollo-Soyuz mission. If you guys know me, this is no surprise to you. It just, to me, the Apollo-Soyuz mission embodies what I love about spaceflight, about humans literally coming together. Because, this is 1975, in the middle of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union, the two people literally aiming nukes at each other, met in space. An Apollo capsule and a Soyuz capsule docked in space. And even if it was a little bit just kind of for show or whatever, it still was extremely important. That's common ground. We found common ground. Two enemies found common ground, and it's over the love of space exploration. So even though it's a really fairly insignificant mission as far as technical prowess or as far as physical exploration of our our solar system or our outer space, because it was just a low Earth orbit mission, at the same time, it means so much to me. Just that's like the perfect embodiment of team space was the Apollo Soyuz mission. So I just a big fan of that mission. But other than that, I don't know. I've got a lot. By the way, this is the replay. If you guys are tuning in right now, this is the replay. It launched 20 minutes ago. It's in a coasting phase right now. They're kind of showing some events from the replay. But as far as other missions, because that one's, as far as of importance, it's not the most important mission to have ever happened. I'm going to go, by the way, I'm going to kind of switch cameras here. I'm going to go like this, since we're not really seeing much. And I'll switch it out here if we do see something different. But yeah, as far as, how can you not think Apollo 11 was like the most important mission to ever have happened? Or for that matter, Apollo 16 and 17, which spent substantially more time on the moon. Apollo 17 spent about 3 days on the surface of the moon. That's crazy. So I don't know how you can't think that that's maybe not more important than Apollo Soyuz, but I don't know. Other than that, one of my favorite other missions, of course, I love like Falcon Heavy demo mission was incredible. DM2 was amazing to see. Those two were definitely personal favorites of mine. Actually, EFT-1, which was the Orion spacecraft's first flight, was on a Delta IV Heavy on December 3rd, 2014, maybe December 4th or 6th or something. December 2014, we'll just say. It was a wait, did I say EFT-1? Yeah, it was EFT-1. I get that confused with the Boeing stuff. But that was just a gorgeous mission to me. That was like one of my favorite ones to visually see, was that one. And then other than that, I think I actually really love the Buran and Energia. Yeah, sorry, I always forget. I'm working on this pronouncing it right for this upcoming Soviet rocket engine video. But yeah, for some reason that mission was just absolutely flawless, even though it was the only flight of Buran. And dang it, yeah. So I don't know. I've got a whole long list of favorite missions, frankly. Okay, so Eteen says you should buy the domain launchpreview.space. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I might need to grab some domains. Thank you very much. Matthews says, do you have any or planning to do some videos about Chinese space industry in general? You cover USA and Europe mostly, and I feel like missing out. I feel like I'm missing out too, my friend. India actually is the next one after this Russian rocket engine. The next big rundown like I do of a program and of an agency will be India. I've had requests like that like you wouldn't believe. And then after that will probably be, China somewhere around there too. So yeah, lots of stuff coming up. I just have this ongoing list. Like for instance, the Soviet rocket engine video we've been working on that. I think we've actually been working on that literally all year. I think it's about 9 months now. I say 6 months, like when I just am thinking about it, but I think it's more like 9. We've been really working on it heavily now for the last 2 months. Has been like full time. Like literally as soon as I'm done streaming, I'm up researching, reading. And right now I'm finishing a final version of the chart, the flow chart, the family tree, actual family tree aspect of the engines, updating with a lot of new info, kind of getting it ready so that Andrew will be able to make an After Effects version. So we're actually going to like visualize the actual progression and the evolution of the engines on screen so that you can actually like go along with it in a storyline fashion. So you can actually follow along and make sense of all the incredible engines that came out of the Soviet Union. So, yeah, it's going to be, flow. No, Florian, I did not say flow as in you. I meant flow as in a flow chart. Dang it. But yeah, that video is going to be incredible. I know it's not going to perform very well. Like I know this is going to be another one of my pollution videos where I spend way too much time on a topic that just isn't nearly as popular. I could frankly fart out a SpaceX Starship video and it'd have 1 million views in 2 weeks or something. And I'll spend months and months on this, researching this, and it'll have like 1 million views after 2 years or something. You know, it's definitely not, this is not the game you play if you want to become like a popular YouTuber. But to me, this is the stuff that matters to me because I got lost, you know, like I don't know before making this video that's coming up. I knew I got lost in the Soviet engines. They confused the crap out of me. I couldn't tell you what was what and when was where and how and why and anything. I had no sense of anything. And now I do. So frankly, I'm making this video for myself, and I hope that it's a good resource for everyone else that was in the same boat, which I think is a lot of people. I think it's a lot of people. Elon dude wants me to show his cat on camera. Dude, that's a cool little room there. I like that. It's hard actually for me to put things up on camera. I can't just like flip it. It's a whole thing. But I like your cat. Okay, Joey Chan says they are saying that CGTN has some nice angle, but I'm here to remind that check the swing arm. Yeah, that's actually what we have up is the CGTN. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm probably way behind. ESA proposed a lander for launch 2018. I think was scrapped. Yes, you're correct. You are correct. That's why I was trying to remember. Starman Steve, thanks Tim for covering this. Awesome. You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Jesse O says, better UK shipping day after payday. Dangerous. Yeah, get ready, UK. It's still not our perfect solution, but it's a much, much, much better solution for international shipping. What it will be, so our new store will have a localized shopping experience that tells you what VAT, you know, what your taxes and duties will be on screen based on the amount. It'll also take care of that for you, handle all the customs so that it's a seamless transaction between our shop getting it to your front door, which has not always been the case with the old way our store was set up. And that's been a huge undertaking, but I think we're going to have a nice clean solution for that. Fingers crossed it works well on when we launch. I really hope it does. And that also will make it so it's faster because it should only be like 3 to 5 day shipping to Europe and have better tracking so you can actually see instead of it saying like it's stuck in Los Angeles when it's actually stuck down the street from you in a customs center or something. So it should really clean up a lot of the international woes that we've had. And hopefully we have a slightly new arrangement with DHL that should make it a little bit cheaper. The problem is right now international shipping rates are through the freaking roof. Like the pandemic has made that horrible. So I do apologize that international shipping is still going to be probably ridiculous. I wish there was more we could do about it. We do already discount from the actual amount that DHL. Oh, there we go. They're doing the injection burn.
As we speak, now 1,600 seconds into the flight, almost 1,700, the second ignition has happened.
So this second ignition of the rocket will accelerate the spacecraft from the speed of 7.8 kilometers per second to about 11 kilometers per second. So that will be the Earth-Moon transfer orbit, which will be a very high elliptical orbit.
Sweet. Yeah, you add
And
about
Mr.
30%.
Xu, help us understand what we're waiting to see.
You actually add almost 30% of your velocity in order to, from orbit, you increase it like by 30 more percent to get out on a translunar injection. It takes a lot of energy, and I think a lot of people forget that. That's why, you're not aiming up at the moon in order to get out to the moon. The moon's in scale. You need to watch our video about Apollo versus Artemis and kind of how the commercial landers and stuff are working, because we show the moon and Earth to scale and how the what the actual orbits look like. In order to increase your apogee out to the moon, you don't just like aim it straight up and go up to the moon. You actually just speed up, and then you make it so wherever you speed up in an orbit, as long as you're facing prograde, it'll increase your orbit on the other side. So you'll now be at your perigee, your lowest point. Your orbit will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you actually get that all the way out to where the moon will be, which is almost like 90 degrees ahead of where the moon currently is because of orbital mechanics. Really, really cool.
of this mission, the samples brought back to Earth don't have immediate.
I'm going to kind of keep this up because I think they'll probably get into the letting us know confirmation that the translunar injection burn was successful. So that's obviously a pretty big thing. So from Jim, everybody Wang Chung tonight. I didn't realize that was the name of the band. Oh, sorry, you're currently in the middle of that thing. Yeah, I keep changing that. Here, let me switch to this view real quick while they're doing this. Is this one small step for robot kind? Yes, this is absolutely one small step for robot kind. Super cool. This is from Ocean Breeze. Thank you for covering this, even if we don't know much of what they're saying. You're right. Luckily, this CGTN is actually doing a very good job of doing a presentation in English, which is phenomenal for an international audience, definitely. But luckily, we do know a lot about the engine, the mission parameters, and a decent amount of stuff about this particular mission because of we just have those answers. So we don't necessarily need them to say unless there's like some kind of thing going off nominal. Then we would definitely know. So, okay. So, John says, how many engines does this rocket have and what do they run on? Yeah. So sorry, we did cover that. But again, just to kind of, remind you again, it's, there's 4 boosters, each with 2, Carolox engines. So it actually runs on liquid fueled boosters, 2 of them each. There's 4 boosters, 2 engines on each of the 4 boosters. Then there's a center core, which has 2 more engines that run on hydrolox or hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Then there's an upper stage with 2 more engines that are purely vacuum optimized expander cycle engines that are also running on hydrolox as well. So altogether, that's 12 engines, plus all the engines and thrusters and stuff on the descent and the orbital stage and all that stuff. So they are actually here. We kind of have this up. So I'm going to listen up quick.
Space infrastructure for one day. Then you will see that you can't tell the weather, you can't tell where you are, the navigation shut down, your phone shut down, the communication shut down. So everything will shut down. So from these lunar missions, we'll see that this is the very first step to become for humanity to become a interplanetary species, so that we can go to other celestial bodies, even planets. This is a very first step that we take as a human being to be a spacefaring species.
Let's indulge ourselves here and expand our imagination. With this step, we're endeavoring with the moon. What could the moon do to mankind here on Earth? Because people have talked about energy, right? People have talked about possibly relocating the population to the moon one day. Just help it. When we expand our imagination, what could the moon do?
Well, moon is not the ideal place for immigration. So in the future, it is only an outpost of human being. And on the other hand, the moon have a very...
I was kind of hoping they'd actually show us or give us confirmation of translunar injection being complete, but based on the imagery, it definitely looks like those engines are not running, and it does look like it's in the coast phase, which would mean hopefully it's a successful translunar injection. I'm going to kind of listen in the background in case they do say that, and we'll keep answering questions but it looks like it's pretty good. I mean, you can actually see the Earth beginning to shrink a little bit there, but that's weird.
Discuss that there are water ice on the lunar surface. So in the future, we can utilize this kind of water because that the moon is much smaller than the Earth. To lift up from the moon is much more simpler than the Earth. So we can use the water to make propellants. So the moon can be a potential outpost for the human being to exploration and exploitation of other celestial bodies of the solar system. So there is one choice. If we want to go to Mars, we can use the moon as our basis and produce the propellants and prepare for these kind of missions.
So you can see from this picture, is a great picture, seeing that you can see from the Earth from the spacecraft. So it was a great image from the lunar orbiter. So the Chang'e 5 is taking picture of the Earth's surface before it goes to the moon.
Yes, that is a beautiful picture of this blue planet we all call home here. And this is the second stage engine, as it says on the upper right screen.
So this is a camera mounted with the direction to the backwards
So I kind of think it's still running, but it's just really hard to see the ablative nozzle in daylight.
of the Earth. And
Isn't the next development the deployment of the solar? Are we looking?
There we go.
There will be a separation. Once it's shut down, we'll have separation of the second
It's shutting
stage.
down again. We just heard from.
yes, we can hear the voice. That's the
Wow, it was hard to see that those engines were running in daylight like that. That was crazy. It just looked so stationary that you couldn't even tell they're running. They're running so smooth, impressive, honestly. So yes, that was.
Yes, we're looking
Let's
forward to
listen
seeing that separation
报速修正关机。
of that spacecraft and
cheering.
the rocket, or what's left of the rocket.
The voice also reported the shutdown of the small rocket engines for the correction, a small correction of the orbit to make it more accurate.
What does that indicate? What does that tell us?
Because the YF-75D have a very big thrust, so we need small engines to correct the final orbit to make it more accurate.
So doing an
So that means it's already in orbit.
It's already in orbit.
So right now they're reorienting the spacecraft to do a small correction burn right after TLI to basically precisely target the moon. And so they're reorienting to do whatever that is. It might not be a straight prograde. Look at this shot, though. You can start to see the full ellipse there. It'd be really cool. I mean, if they keep this camera running for a while, we might actually see the full Earth like that from an. This is an awesome camera.
Well, you can
From
see
control-
from
There's the orientation of the vehicle right now as they prepare to do some adjustment burns.
it's very stable in relative to the
地
Earth.
面分离。
So now there's a
The
separation.
separation of the spacecraft and the rocket. This is a crucial step in the flight,
Exactly.
indicating now
so
that
the separation is confirmed by the telemetry data, which can be checked and examined
So it
from
looks
the
more like
ground.
that was just an orientation, but maybe they'll immediately do some adjustment burns right now with the orbital module here that has currently the descent and the ascent stage on it too. Man, they're doing these things back to back. We're only 37 minutes into the mission, and they've already done TLI, their translunar injection, so the trajectory's heading out towards the moon, and now they've already had spacecraft separation. This is quick. Normally, like the Apollo missions did a full orbit and a half basically before they did their TLIs. Artemis for the first human mission will be 24 hours later. I mean, these you can't compare. It's not apples to apples here. It's more like apples to light bulbs or something when you're talking about an uncrewed vehicle versus a crewed vehicle. But still, this is a good sign.
Discussed, we need the telemetry data to be transferred to the ground.
I love that shot. So that's still the first stage, or the upper stage. I mean, so that is coasting.
So this is still the engine from the rocket.
So basically, in layman's words, we're fine-tuning the spacecraft as it hits that orbit now.
It's in that orbit now. So it's not. This is no longer.
It looks
the,
like we still need a couple more minutes.
It's no longer the upper stage that's doing that portion of the adjustments. The spacecraft was detached from the upper stage, so now there's an actual an orbital stage. Think of it just like the Apollo program, except for that the ascent or the command module and service module no longer needs to do that turnaround and docking with the LEM. It's all already connected. But think of it in that same way. There's still an orbital stage, which will be what puts it into lunar orbit. And then there's also a stage that will do the descent. And then there's a stage, and then they'll pick up the samples and do all the stuff. And then there's still an ascent stage that will re-rendezvous with the orbital stage, which we're kind of seeing on the left-hand part of that screen right there. And kind of see all of those things. So the orbiter will stay orbiting the moon, and the ascent stage will dock to it and give it the re-entry module, and then that will return to Earth. And that's all that will end up re-entering. Will just be the orbital capsule that's currently kind of tucked inside of the ascent stage. So the camera that we're seeing on the right, that no longer it really has anything to do with the mission. That is that's the now spent upper stage, and we are starting to see the full LEM of the Earth, the whole image of the Earth, because it is flying away from the Earth. These are, of course, extremely wide-angle cameras. They might even be GoPro amount of fisheye distortion, but also of your actual vantage point. So your angle of view is extremely wide on this camera, and you can tell that there's obviously some distortion, but it's cool because we are going to see, hopefully, if they give us this camera for a while, this feed, we'll see the full circle of the Earth, which is a pretty rare treat. There's not too many spacecraft that get far enough away from the Earth to really be able to see the whole thing. So, man, this is an awesome shot. You know, this is what the Apollo astronauts got to see out their window in real time, was just watching the Earth slowly shrink, because they're now leaving, low Earth orbit and heading out into deep space. Pretty awesome. So, yeah, this is awesome. I'm quite impressed. I have to say, immediately, even if things don't go well, just seeing this amount of accuracy, and happening right now. I mean, I feel like just a couple years ago, the Chinese Space Agency was such a fledgling agency, but now they're just, I mean, honestly, they're launching more than anybody, and it's starting to show. And I hope that this makes everyone else go, guys, we got to really step up our game, because it's going to be hard to compete. So I think right now we're waiting for solar deploy of the solar panels. We will see how those go. Let me keep reading your guys' stuff. So Fogsy's new web store, better get some new drip. Yes, again, although today you can take 10% off the Future Martian shirt. Maybe don't. Just wait for this weekend. We'll have some sales that are more store-wide and a whole new website with new merchandise. So just save yourself some shipping and all that stuff and just shop this weekend. Although we might run out of stuff this weekend. We don't do print on demand. The web store is all hand fulfilled. So we do bulk runs of things, and the shop gets way behind. This is just my friend's shop. They do all the screen printing there in-house. Basically everything is done in-house. And so we can get really behind. So if you're trying to get something for the holidays, you might want to be shopping this weekend, because a lot of stuff, I think drinkware, I'm guessing, is going to sell out immediately. We have new moon lamps. We got new, bigger moon lamps. The old moon lamps were about this big, and the new ones are over twice the diameter. They're this big, but we're selling them at the same price. You're welcome. Yeah, we have a lot of cool new stuff that a lot of you guys have been asking for. So get ready. I hope we get back to that cool shot of the Earth, because that was very awesome to me. Han says, thinking about going to Boca Chica to watch serial number 8 fly. Anything you recommend? Where to be at launch? What hotel? Etc. So Han, first off, I recommend good luck. Starship, anything Starship, unless you live within 2 or 5 hours or something, it's really hard to catch. I'm telling you this as well. Obviously, I have to drive for 2 days to get down to serial number 8. So I'm maybe in a little different boat than most people. But if you're relatively close, just put your patient pants on, because you might be sitting around for days, weeks, if you actually want to catch it. Because any of these things with the serial number stuff, I literally had bags packed a month ago, ready to get out the door a month ago. I actually had bags packed for what I was hearing was going to be literally finalization of serial number 4, the last test of serial number 4, before they put flaps and stuff on it and got it ready to fly in a couple weeks in February. That was the plan in February. So, I mean, things change all the time. So just patient pants. At the launch, you won't be able to get closer than 5 miles. So don't even bother going on the south side out there down towards Boca Chica. If you want to view, I'd say, what's that island called? St. Isabel or whatever. I can't think of what that's called. Okay, so they actually are ending their transmission now. So, again, I just want to, while this is wrapping up for them, I'll stick around and answer more of your questions, but I have to, it's Port Isabel, by the way. Okay, I just really quickly have to say congratulations to all those involved, all the scientists and engineers involved in that mission. It honestly looked really, really smooth, and it was quite impressive. So I hope that we get some brand new sample images, or brand new samples of the moon for the first time in 45 years. That would be excellent. So that makes me really excited. So yeah, congratulations again, everyone in chat. Those of us that are participants of Team Space, I hope that you guys are excited about some new science too. And that's what this is all about. We are here to cheer on people that are doing exploration, science, and spaceflight activities, of course. So yeah, So there we go. Let's see. Is the trench cam still active? We better find out. No, trench cam is dead, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, she did. It's just something else now. Womp womp. We tried. Okay, so let me finish up here, or keep going with you guys' questions. You guys have had some awesome questions. So yeah, so Port Isabel would be a good place to watch. That's about 5 miles away, right on the edge of the exclusion zone. And so is the very south tip of South Padre. Hotels are going to be cheaper in Brownsville if you want a place to stay. There's also a ton of hotels, of course, on South Padre Island. They're a little more expensive. Yeah. I can't really recommend any hotels at this time in particular. So yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah. I would just say good luck, honestly. And I'm not saying that like sarcastically. I just really mean like good luck, because trying to get down there for serial number 8, if anyone's trying to fly in for serial number 8, let me just say no. For real. However good of idea you think that is, let me tell you this. I'm planning that when I finally do get on the road, hoping that I'm doing this right, I still might have to be there for a week or two. That's just kind of the reality of the fact. And I just really feel like right now is not a particularly good time to fly either. So please keep the responsibility of yourself of maintaining social distance and maintaining a proper amount of isolation as you can, while still, of course, living life. But we can all be responsible and wear masks and things like that. Do the easy things that we can all do together as we hopefully get near towards the end of the darkest part of this pandemic. It'd be silly to lighten up right now when it's at its peak. So just keep that in mind if anyone is planning to travel now, especially in the United States, which is the hottest spot in the world for the pandemic. If you're traveling for the holidays, please just extra care. Please wear a mask. Please just, it's obviously not mandated because people freak out about that because of America. But, if it's a personal choice, make it your personal choice then. Make it your personal conviction. Make it your personal responsibility to make sure you're keeping everyone around you safe and your friends and family in the holidays safe. Because this is, we're at the peak right now. It ain't good. Richard, I wanted to go to bed, Tim. That's not going to happen anymore. # Team Space. Absolutely. Alex Smith, hi Tim from New Zealand. Big respect for donating all your super chats to the Starship during the Rocket Lab launch and then adding your own funds. Here's a little to top off your funds. Well, thank you so much, Alex. It just seemed like the right thing to do. I was really excited that you guys raised $6,900 US, and we were able to donate all of that. And then I made up for the 30% that YouTube took for super chats, which is unfortunate, but we were able to donate a full $6,900 US to Starship Children's Hospital in Auckland, New Zealand. For those of you that took part in that, I can't even think about it because I'll honestly cry. That was like one of the most important nights of my life, honestly. Like just seeing the community come together behind something that really matters was massively impactful for me. So thank you to all of you who did that. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. You're welcome for streaming. Yes, absolutely. It's big success. It's looking like, and that's what we like to see in spaceflight. John M, thanks for the membership. This is from Imogen says, love you and love your work. Question: would you go to Mars for $1 million? For $1 million, no. Still no. Again, okay. I'm not going to say no because maybe in 30 years going to Mars is no big deal. But until then, like the first several missions, when it's like the worst camping trip of your life, where you're just isolated with a small group of people on a deadly mission in a terribly inhospitable place, 240 million miles or however many away it is from home, where it takes 40 minutes minimum round trip communication to be able to talk to your friends and family. No, thank you. No, thank you. Again, someday if there's like this like airliner like or cruise ship like experience where you go out to Mars, I just hate that it takes 2 years. Like that's why I'd be a lot more prone. I still don't want to go to the moon, but I'd be more prone to want to visit the moon because you can do that relatively easy in a week. Like you can go to the moon, hang out, fart around, be inside of a dome with an atmosphere, flap your bird wings. You could literally strap wings on because of 1/6 gravity and fly around with cardboard wings basically on the moon. Yeah, I'll do that because I'm not going to be gone for long. The communication delay is only about 3 seconds. No big deal. Mars, on the other hand, just it's just not for me. I don't want to go. But again, maybe someday if like all my friends and family want to go on a 2-year journey to Mars with me on this giant cruise ship that's safe and ordinary and has a swimming pool, tacos, squirrels, maybe then. Until then. Tuba Horse, I'm not sure what that means. Hopefully it's nothing offensive, but thank you. Pedro V.S. Boris, wow. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to say your first name. How do you certify correct orientation of Falcon 9 boosters if there's no pointy end? It's hard. It's actually a separate certification program to actually know when a booster is... normally, I don't have to certify them once they're in flight. You know, that's kind of the beauty of it. I can still certify Falcon Heavy boosters, even if they're on their own, because they still do have a pointy end up and a flaming end down. But once they're on the ground or once they're detached, a normal Falcon 9 booster, and it has a flat inner stage and no longer has a pointy end, I don't have to certify it. It's already flown at that point. So that's actually the real trick. It wasn't really a full thing. Thanks for the question. Demigod Dragoness says, angle on the booster tip is designed to reduce compressive shock against the side of the trunk. If booster's nose is symmetrical, additional bracing is needed in the trunk to resist the lateral forces. Very cool fact. So yeah, basically, if you have a cone like this, there's going to be a pressure wave coming off the cone in all directions, especially in certain Mach regimes and certain pressures. That could get really strong. So where that cone would ram into the center core of the booster, you can experience a lot higher stresses that would then have to be reinforced and therefore add weight. So, Russia and some of the Atlas V sometimes tapers its nose and like that. So when you do that, it kind of removes that layer of boundary shock, basically. So you don't have to have that increased thing. So Moondust Lisa wants to know why squirrels? Why do we need squirrels? What? I gotta have squirrels in my life. I feed squirrels like every day. I go out. I want my goal in life is to hand feed a squirrel. Has never happened. I just want to feed a squirrel. I just need squirrels. I like to watch squirrels run around. When they run across the road, they make this perfect little whoop-de-whoop. How can you not love that? I need that in my life. Just the simple things in life. Thank you, though, Demigod Dragoness. Thank you so much for the little nice tidbit of info. Thank you. That is absolutely correct. Richard Gadsden, if this is successful, this will be the first sample return mission to the moon since Luna 24 in 1976. The previous was Apollo 17 in 1972. You're absolutely right. Awesome fun fact. So this is why this actually does matter. That's like I said, it's the first new bit of moon material we will have had on Earth in like 45 years, basically. So yeah. Now my Discord channel is showing me all their pictures of feeding squirrels and taking pictures of squirrels. You are making me jealous. Let's see. Philip says, do I know that I'm on NASA TV right now? Why was I on NASA TV right now? I did not know this. Does anyone know anything about this? I really would assume NASA TV wasn't like, hey, let's put Tim's feed of CSNA up on what? What are you talking about? I got to know the context on this. I don't know anything about this. I'm assuming maybe it's like me in the background shot of something, but I very much assume it has nothing to do with what we're doing right now, but let's see. What is it? Mr. Toxic Hot Dog. A hot dog with ketchup. Thank you so much. I'm assuming thank you. Yeah, anyone let me know. I don't really know anything about that. This is Malwa 2 says we should watch Israel launches together here on this channel. The Indian control rooms are very funny without much formality. Very interesting how everything works anyway. Yeah, I have streamed I believe only one Israel launch and landing attempt, but I want to do more. And that's one of those things where once I have more expertise on it, I absolutely will. What did I miss? Let me know if you guys know. I mean, Tyler, you're absolutely right. This says, wake up world, China is progressing. Again, we're going to avoid geopolitics, but it's a fact that China has made huge progress in space exploration in the past 2 decades. And I guess in basically most things as far as technology goes. Razenbot, why are the booster jets angled not parallel like other rockets? So I think that the exhaust plume are cantered out at a slight angle. They do that intentionally, probably just for plume-plume interaction reasons. It might also actually make separation easier. I don't know for sure, but if, during the transient shutdown, there's still some residual thrust. And if you let go of the nose first, that angle in would tip the nose out. And then when you jettison, it will already have the right movement. I don't actually know the exact reason. I'm happy to let you know that I don't know, but I could try to find out. But a lot of that could just be for thermal considerations to not have strong, because the fun thing about cosine losses is, if you go out like 3 degrees on your thrust, you don't lose 3% of your thrust. You lose a very small amount. But then all of a sudden, like from 5, 6, 8, 10, 15, you go from like really quickly. It's not a linear correlation between your thrust vector, how much it's offset compared to the amount of thrust that it's outputting. It's not directly linear. It's like this cool relationship that I'm sure you can find. But I assume it's thermal. And maybe something to do with something else. There we go. Is this from Santiago? Says, hi, Tim, my son. Just wanted to say that he loves your live streams and thank you for making them. Well, thank you very much, Santiago, for you and your son watching together. That, of course, means a lot to me. Stand by because we have a lot more streams coming. Of course, we'll have hopefully a Starlink mission maybe tonight. Haven't heard anything, though. Do we know? I guess maybe something happened while I'm on air while I was busy with the Rocket Lab stuff. Is there a stream? Is there a launch happening tonight or not? I don't think there. I just haven't heard anything myself, but that will be probably the next one coming up. And then, of course, SEAL number 8 might be in the next week or 2. Who knows? NASA and SpaceX are now targeting on Saturday. Oh, for a CRS-21. Very cool for CRS-21. But what about... but they're still keeping an eye. That was last night, Hunter. They had a little thing saying today on Monday, but we still haven't actually heard... I haven't heard anything. Let me actually see here real quick. Actually, it sounds like the 24th. So tomorrow, I believe, is the next attempt. They are not streaming tonight, or they're not attempting tonight, is what I'm seeing. So, yep, not tonight, guys. So we'll see you tomorrow night, hopefully. Marnix Jansen, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is also from Santiago. Thank you for becoming a new member. I really appreciate that. Jacob, another new member. Thank you guys. And like I said, I will try to get a Patreon/membership live stream here going live before I get down to Texas. Still trying to figure out the logistics on a lot of things right now, on top of trying to get the new website, web store. That's been a major flip. That has been like substantial. It's going to be a totally new web store, which is not something that's easy. And a lot of fun new little Easter eggs hidden throughout the store, and a lot of fun things that I'm excited. So, yeah. Okay. So, Popeye says, Pierre, I don't exactly know what that means, but again, thank you very much, Popeye. I appreciate it. David, how's it going? Random question. How is Uncle Dad and when will he return? David, that's a great question. Between us, I have considered actually doing my own standalone weekly news podcast where we go over just space news, because there's still a lot of people that want that. And if I do that, I will do that with Uncle Dad, with Jacob EQ, because I want to read him space news and have him react to it, because I think for those of you that remember when we did This Week in Spaceflight History, where I would hang out with my friend that I called Jacob EQ or Uncle Dad. His name's actually Jacob. He's one of the funniest people I know, and he knows absolutely nothing about spaceflight. And so explaining things to him is like literally like explaining things to a child, which is just amazing. And he asks great questions. So I found it always entertaining. I think he's just a great guy. I think it'd be really fun to have him on something again. So, hey, just letting you guys know, I'm right about Starlink. Just letting you know. You'll see. Sir S Rank a lot thank you very much for the membership. I appreciate it. Nathan, my 6-year-old daughter is watching. Explain ablative. Ooh, very good question. So ablating is when you take something and you remove it, you intentionally let something get really hot and then have it flake away. And so when it flakes away, it actually removes heat with it. So for a heat shield, for example, there's a lot of heat and you're trying to keep that heat from getting to the actual spaceship, right? You're trying to keep your spacecraft from melting. It will melt if it actually experiences that heat. So you stick a heat shield on there. The most common ones for a capsule design is something that ablates. And what that means is as it gets hot, at a certain point, it'll intentionally be removed. Material will actually flake off of it. And when it flakes off, it takes that heat away with it and exposes some new heat shield material. So that's how you remove the heat from the system. That's how you remove the energy of the heat. You literally just have it fly off the spacecraft. So you intentionally make an ablative heat shield have some depth to it, have some thickness so that as it ablates, there's still more material there, keeping the rest of the spacecraft safe. That is a phenomenal question. Peter. Hi, Tim, a long-time watcher from British Columbia. Do you know how China tracks flights around the world in terms of ground stations? I don't actually know. That's a fantastic question. I don't know if they have their own. ESA provided some support for tracking, so maybe we're doing some tracking using some of the ground stations that ESA is involved with. But as far as, I don't know how they all, I don't know exactly, honestly. So good question. Those are the things that I like to think about when I'm going to make a video about that someday. From Brian Clausen, Everyday Astronaut World Tour 2021, Mars or Bust. I am excited. I've said this for a while now. I really have wanted to do like a speaking tour of some kind for a long time. I think it'd be so fun. It'd be so fun just to meet people, get space community together, make people realize that, that's the main reason why I do meetups and stuff is because, you can bring all these people from the community, you can make new friends that you realize have the same interests as you, that are maybe just right down the street from you, that you wouldn't have experienced otherwise, That's why it's so important to me. That's one of the reasons that I really like doing speaking tours, is getting a sense of where everyone's at so people can meet other people that are also fans of spaceflight. So, yeah. Okay, Malawa says, why doesn't China dock to the ISS even though it already has crewed capsules? So, Malawa, it's not actually, NASA doesn't want to work with China for some geopolitical reasons. And I think some of that has to do with human rights. But they also just haven't been in agreement to work together, basically. I believe, again, this is something that I'm not very familiar with, so please let me apologize that what I say isn't gospel truth. But I believe that China actually wants to work with NASA and wants to be involved in the International Space Station, but so far they have not, so far they have not worked together for whatever reason. That's something that I don't know that much about, but I would love to learn more. Niall says, hey, Tim, love the content. Will you tweet Elon about setting up a flame trench cam? Yes, I think we need a flame trench cam, and I think they need a flame trench underneath serial number 8, honestly. If I were Elon, that's what I'd be looking at myself, but yeah. Looking forward to Vienna, says Tibor. Did you miss the last one? We had like 50 some patron people meet up in Vienna on like a Tuesday night with like a 2-day notice. It was unbelievable. I lost my mind. I couldn't believe how many. I thought it was going to be like 5 people. And then come to find out all these people just started showing up, bigger tables, and we took over this whole little place right downtown Vienna, and it was awesome. So if you missed that one, sorry. It was, I think, the biggest meetup. It was amazing. Still my favorite one too, because it's just fun. I just love doing that. That's super fun. Small Town Space says, any plans on coming to the UK for Skyaurora or Orbex? I would is the at. Oh yeah. I definitely want, if they invite me out to be able to come see their places and see what they're working on, especially I would love to see Orbex. I know a decent amount. Skyaurora I don't know a ton about, but I would love to meet with those people for sure. And I definitely just want to come to the UK. So maybe we can make it part of the tour or something. Beamer Geezer says, thanks, Tim, for the Everest calculation. I just ordered my 4 million Raptor engines. I'm just waiting for a delivery date. 4 million Raptor engines. That at one every 2 weeks. It's going to take a little bit. Dylan says, I'm an Apollo 8 guy. Earthrise is such an awe-inspiring photo. Can only imagine what it'd be like to see that view for the first time. You're right. Apollo 8 is absolutely substantial mission. I mean, it's a poetic mission to me, especially those that are of the Christian faith know that happened on Christmas Eve, and so they actually read from the book of Genesis. It was poetic. It was a beautiful thing that people were sitting at home, with it's just like this, like the most Americana thing ever, I think, Christmas trees and people sitting there huddled around a TV watching someone, flying around the moon for the first time ever, orbiting the moon. So yeah, that had to have been that is a pretty magical moment in spaceflight history for sure. Absolutely. Elwin says, is this the first proper live coverage from China? That was definitely the best live coverage from China. I don't know as far as anything beyond, if there's been something better, but as far as good live coverage that's not like delayed or not rebroadcast, that was the best that I've ever seen by far. So, Musical Wolves, likely, like I said, likely tomorrow's Starlink launch will be the first past 9 p.m. No, because they've done it in the middle of the night, haven't they? They've done Starlinks in the middle of the night, right? They're definitely not all during the day. Someone help me out. I feel like that can't be right. But good question, Musical Wolves. I'll see if Discord can look into it. Isaac Turner, thank you very much. Nancy, thank you so much for your membership. This is from Kale Ove. Sorry for mispronouncing it. Hey, Tim, thanks for your hard work. Hashtag Team Space. Thank you very much. Chris Brown, one of the coolest phrases in spaceflight history has to be Chinese for go for TLI. Ooh, I don't know if I caught that. Thanks for covering this launch, Everyday Astronaut. Thank you. Well, thank you, Chris. Thanks for tuning in. I'd like to see if I can hear what that actually means. We've had Starlinks at midnight. Yeah, there we go. So definitely not the earliest, or the latest, I mean. John Doe, have I done a stream of KSP trip to the moon? Oh, baby, we've done so many trips to wherever we can get a trip to the moon done. I've done it on air, like in the middle of a launch when we're waiting for things. Like a trip to the moon's nothing. That's easy. That's very, very easy. But yeah, we've done that for Patreon streams and stuff. We've done a lot of things in the Patreon live streams. That's what I end up doing most of the time now when we do Patreon and membership live streams is we play Kerbal, because I can just kind of do that in the background. You have something fun to watch while we chat and hang out. And it's such a small group of people, we can pretty much get to almost everything. Hunter says in Discord that Starlink 9 was at 1:12 a.m. There we go. Jalen Duncan or Halen Duncan says 30% increase to the moon. What about Mars? Honestly, to get your Delta V beyond the moon doesn't take that much more. Like to get out to Mars is only something like 35% more Delta V than just low Earth orbit. I don't quite remember the number, but there's not a huge difference, because you're almost to get out to the moon, you're getting awfully close to breaking out of Earth orbit, to getting into interplanetary space. And then the Delta V difference between there and increasing your orbit up to Mars isn't huge. It might only be like 40% or something. It's not massive. It's not like you'd think with Mars as far away as it is, you'd think like, oh, it's going to take 5 times more energy. Really, it's not that big of an increase, but I don't have that off the top of my head. Goose Mick says, do you think the main goal of this mission is to determine the quantity of helium-3 per sample for nuclear fusion and determine its mining feasibility? I don't know about the main goal of that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something we're looking more into, since that's definitely a strong consideration for mining the moon and a potential viable commercial resource on the moon for sure. So definitely. Happy Hacking Video Blog. When he said this looks like a miniature Apollo-style mission profile, I could not avoid remembering the old bad reputation of China with copycats of foreign products and tech. Just a stereotype. Well, it makes sense. It was a novel concept at the time, a relatively novel concept to have, instead of a direct ascent to the moon, break it up. Why would you have all your mass that you need to get home? Why would you put all that on the moon? Why not have some of it stationed in orbit, lighten up your spacecraft and make it more specialized? It just makes sense from a mass standpoint. For sure. So, yeah, good question though. Project Mercury, thank you for the membership. I appreciate that. Jake F. Why is SpaceX continuing to reduce their Falcon 9 production when they're falling behind on their next Falcon Heavy launch to focus on Starship? Are they falling behind on their next Falcon Heavy launch? That's the first question. I don't think they are. I just think the mission is just not ready. It's not the Falcon Heavy's fault. They're not falling behind on Falcon 9 production. They just have a fleet capable of fulfilling their launches. Like, they aren't slowing anything down. They're just meeting demand. Actually, if you look at how many Falcon 9 launches are happening this year compared to previous, it's obvious that there's still, we've seen 3 brand new boosters hit the market or get inside their fleet in the past like 2 weeks between Crew 1, the GPS launch, and Sentinel 6A. So there's 3 brand new boosters in their fleet. We know that they can fly at least 6 times. We're hoping to see a 7 here with the next Starlink mission. So really, I mean, I don't see why. And the Falcon Heavy, I think that's a payload consideration. Am I right in saying that? I'm pretty sure it's a payload consideration. The mission was always been slated for, it was either late this year or early 2021, but I don't think it's a manufacturing thing. So, David, thank you for everything. Thank you for all your help today. Everyone that's currently on YouTube, say thank you to David, who helped us find a lot of good resources here today for today's launch, because this is something that I'm not used to covering. So thank you very much, David, for all your help. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, so that's kind of how that goes. Roman, thank you for the membership. I really appreciate that. Peter Mount, well done. You and Rocket Lab raised $286,000 for Starship Foundation, according to their tweet. That's amazing. Hang on. Did they actually, was that a new tweet? Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, Starship Foundation even tweeted it directly. Very cool. Wow. That's amazing, guys. That's so cool. That really means a lot. A 13 banger, thank you for the membership. Sir Rankalot or S Rankalot says, Tim, if you were to name the first Starship, what would you call it? Don't have me name stuff. That would be the name of the ship, but don't have me name stuff, probably. That would be what I'd probably name it. But for instance, some of my old, like I used to name all my cars and motorcycles back in the day when I was younger. Some of them that I can remember off the top of my head is Varth Monsoon Jackson Fourth, the Junior. What was Commander Cat Veneer and his Vam Howard Silence was one of them. They're terrible. Let's just say they're terrible. They were terrible names. But I do really like Commander Cat Veneer and his Vam Howard Silence. Maybe that needs to be, because that means nothing. There's no meaning behind that. But I would love for Starship to be called Commander Cat Veneer and his Vam Howard Silence. So there you go. That's what I'm going to name the first Starship. Just so people will be like, what? Armand24, Tim Mars Fun. Thank you, Armand. I'm going to get you. Anthony says, for more squirrel food. Thank you very much, Anthony. Let's see here. This is from Joey saying solar panel deployed based on CCTV live stream. Awesome. Thank you for that update. That's great news. Yes, we will see Falcon Heavy flying next year. That's when the mission is slated for. Awesome. Small town space. Any plans on coming to the UK for Skyroar and Orbex? Yes, we just did talk about that. I want to, and I just want to visit the UK. I've only been to Heathrow twice or like 3 times now. That's the most I've seen of UK. I've hung out in Ireland, and I've hung out on just right across. I've hung out in France right there, and the Netherlands. In that area. But I've always kind of missed the UK, and I really, really want to spend like a full week there. I would love to do that right now, but the whole pandemic is, yeah. Simone says, Tim, will the F1 hoodie ever come back to the shop? Thanks for all hard work. We don't have plans to do that right now. We might do a run on that. One of the special things that's coming back, we are doing our second run ever of the black and gold Aerospike shirt this is run 2 of it. So that's going to be special. So if you missed that one the first time, this is another limited run. We have only done 1 run of those ever. So Yeah. I'm really excited for that one. That's still an all-time favorite of mine. Barbu says, how will 14 or more people live on the ISS in October 2021? MS-18, MS-19, Crew 3, and Tom Cruise, according to the current schedule. There won't... Yeah, that's a good question. That's, again, a little bit outside of my expertise. MS-18 and 19 will swap, I believe. So, or there'll be some kind of crew rotation. I don't think there will be 14 people. There might be a little brief period of time where there's like 7 plus Tom Cruise and their crew. So maybe 10, but I don't think 10 or 11. I don't think there would. Yeah. Hey, just so you guys know, SpaceX just tweeted, now targeting Tuesday, November 24th at 9:13 p.m. Eastern for Starlink mission. Who would have known? Mike Dobson, thank you for the membership. I really appreciate it. Daryl Sauce says, Tim, if the powers that be will let me, I'd leave one of my remote cameras at the 39A trench for CRS-21. Daryl, I would too, frankly. I would love to set like a high-speed camera down there and just watch it. Watch the come right at you. That'd be very cool. And thank you for offering up a remote camera for that. Brad Brass, where did you get those space models? So I need to just like have this pinned somewhere. These are from the Falcon 9s are from, and Falcon Heavy are from buzzspacemodels.com. That's buzzspacemodels.com. This is a Lego Saturn V here. The Blue Origin, New Glenn, and New Shepard are from Blue Origin. Those are not publicly available. The Rocket Lab Electron is from Rocket Lab, not publicly available. And the Delta IV Heavy, the Vulcan, and the Atlas V are all from ULA. Those are available on their website at the ULA store. Musical Wolf, since grapes make plasma in a microwave, would that also happen in space due to cosmic radiation from the sun? Holy crap, I have no idea. I have no idea what would happen to a grape just full-blown out there exposed to space. No idea. I'm very sorry, but that is a great question. Thank you. I don't know. The crafty guy, Paul. Starlink is still on for tonight. Nope. But thank you, Paul. Spyro, does your mustache naturally form like that, or do you trim under your lips to separate it from your beard? It just forms like this. I would love if it came straight down. I would just be like, I'd do a full-blown, whatever it's called, or like a big handlebar mustache or something. No, this is just how I don't have great facial hair. I don't have great hair, period. So this is, I work with what I got, you know. This is from Jason Brunhard. Thank you so much for the membership. This is from Lucian saying, please cover JAXA launches. Tanigashima SC is gorgeous. We have covered a JAXA launch, and it was fantastic. I would love to do more, especially that Mitsubishi Heavy Industries vehicle is beautiful. So from Imogen says, the first Starship to Mars should be called Barsoom. I don't know the reference to that. Anyone know the reference to that? But I do love that. Barsoom. Okay, and Esh Daddy. How's it going, Esh? Long time no see. Just got done watching Contact again. Wouldn't it be better to that thing and just transfer to wherever? Oh, and the 50-pound rabbit. Yeah, it would be way better to use something like In Contact just to be able to go wherever you want, whenever you want, pretty much. I mean, yeah, absolutely. You're 100% Esh Daddy. And yes, a 50-pound rabbit or a 22.5 kilogram rabbit or however much it is would be a very big rabbit. And that, my friends, besides the crafty guy, Paul, thank you. That, my friends, does it. I'm going to head out of here. I'm going to finish up the stupid thing that I've been working on. Barsoom is a fictional representation of the planet Mars created by American pulp fiction author Edgar Rice. I don't know anything about that, but yeah. Oh, and one more from Sammy Chung. What a treat to take us to China's space program. It was. That's what hashtag Team Space is all about, my friends. Is watching what's happening in the world of spaceflight and seeing it ourselves, cheering on those people involved in exploring space and learning everything. By Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I was gonna say from Pulp Fiction author or just from fiction author. I was like, is Pulp Fiction Okay, anyway, equivalent exchange. Good Smile Company is doing a release of the Soyuz rocket model behind you. Are you getting one? I need to learn about this. And maybe I would absolutely get one. I definitely need some more rockets in the background. So great question. Okay, everybody, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for the movie John Carter, Barsoom. Okay, there we go. Boom, some facts. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I've got a lot more work to do to finalize the chart that you'll probably see another sneak peek on Twitter of the family tree of, and from Mal again. Tim, you may not know it, but you are a great English teacher. I learned a lot on your channel. It changed my life. I'll end up getting an Iowan accent. Well, thank you very much. That's so cool. I love that. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Luckily, Iowan, by the way, an Iowan accent, I do have a little bit of one. I'm getting a little too close to Canada, a little too close to Minnesota. So I do have a little bit. I'm pretty close to like, what is it? The Anglo-Saxon, just like the middle, like it's a little fairly ambiguous for the United States. I think some people, I have some words that I say like way, it's way cool. Creek. I say some words that some people might not say that kind of give away where I'm from. I have a hard time saying bagel, right? Bagel. Or bag sometimes sounds a little bit like beg. Yeah, so like I said, I have a little accent to me, but in general, Iowa and this region, the Midwest, is fairly normal. Yeah, I can't say bagel. I don't know. Okay, thank you, Spyro. I'm getting out of here. Again, if you guys want to help me do what I do and get access to our exclusive live streams, consider becoming a member or a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in and for #TeamSpace. Stand by this week. There will be, I'm not even going to push the web store because we're going to have a huge flip of it this week. So get ready for some awesome Black Friday and Thanksgiving and holiday sales. Prepping for the holiday, you'll want to get in there right away because I think we're going to sell out of almost everything. We're stocked up as we've been running production for the last couple of months to try to get stocked up. We don't have huge production capabilities. So it will be very limited, I think, on some things. So if you want to make sure you get some stuff for the holidays or tell your parents, your family, your friends, whatever, if you know that, hey, you better get it this upcoming weekend because there'll be not only sales, but it'll also be in stock. So if you guys want to support me that way, consider doing it this weekend. And that's a pro tip. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Congrats again to China. The mission looks like it's been a huge success. But that's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. Goodbye, everybody.